Today I'd like to talk to you about the gift of recovery, the restoring of the treasures of the soul. It's really a heart message to me. It's one of the sweet gifts of recovery, I think, and learning boundaries and learning your 12 steps and all that is to return to you the treasures of the soul which make you uniquely you and which allows you to show up authentically you at the show up place. So it's kind of all intertwined, but I really want to cover this with you, and it's a heart that I'm really passionate about this topic. So let's go with this, and I want you to learn that, to see that learning to create a safe place to be authentic as I walk out a very uncertain journey into sanity and serenity. Sanity is actually showing up and being who I am and knowing that. And the serenity is being at peace with that, whether I'm perfect yet or not. If I can accept the fact that I'm in process and I'm okay. I can get buck naked at the show up place with those safe people in my life, keeping the show up place safe, and be fully who I am, warts and all. And so part of this whole recovery journey, part of this being authentic, this part of this, the key parts, I think, of being someone who can show up at the show up place, authentically who they are, is learning to embrace the treasures of their soul. So that's why this piece is really important to me. I don't know, I just can't go on enough about it. So let's just look at it and you find out for yourself why I'm passionate about it. Now, I think that the soul has certain activities. It's the thinking, feeling, passion, and intuition. It kind of basically gives me creatively who I am. That as all those components of my activities of the soul come together, I uniquely express who I am. Whether it's through art and music or writing or speaking or dance or whatever else that you may do at work. That as you use all those components of your ability to think and feel and your passion, intuition together, it's who you are. And addiction steals that. Shame shuts this down. And so I guess my whole point of this whole deal is that yes, you're going to stop some behaviors or you're going to stop using certain substances, and that's fine as a process. But bottom line, the heart to all of this to me is that this is what comes out. This is this unique you at the show up place is the real treasure. Now, I've got some things here. The treasures of the soul, I've got them broken down is my ability to think what I think, to feel what I feel, to know what I know, and to want what I want, and to trust my tuition. Now, I know this sounds like this is a lot about me, but you know something? This is who God has made me to be. He's given me the ability to think. He's given me feelings, and I've got a knower that needs to know things. I've got a wanter. You know, there's nothing in Scripture that says that I can't want certain things. Now, maybe I want certain things. Now, I'm not talking about things that are illicit. I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about, but they're true wants of my soul that are legitimate. And then to trust my intuition, my gut. And when I can match all that together, then I am fully functioning human being. I can really show up at a show up place, all me. So recovery has been a part of that journey of putting this all back together, restoring this and finding this and recollecting it, and now protecting it. This is what your boundaries protect right here. So let's look at this. Bottom line, you've seen this diagram before, is that your job is, whichever side you are in your recovery, is 100% of your responsibility to come to the show up place and show up authentically you. Now that's a process. You're not going to do it perfect up front. But over and over and over, as you create safety here in this show up place, it makes it easier and easier for you two to come and get naked, get authentic, get vulnerable with one another because it's safe to do that, or at least safer. Now, any dynamic in the whole of the show up place can only be 50% your deal. You can't go over here and deal with this. Your job, though, is that you take care of your side of the street. You hear a lot in recovery. You take care of your side of the street. Let the other person take care of their side. Okay? That is 100% your deal. Now, the show-up place is safe for everyone. I mean, we covered that when I went through the show-up place with you. We talked about boundaries and how to keep that safe. And safety is defined by each person that shows up. Now, it's also a place of invitation. You can't force somebody there. I mean, technically, even if I worked for you and you were the one who's paying my paycheck, if I decided you weren't safe enough to do that with, I'm not going to keep working with you. If I'm in recovery, if I am truly protecting the treasures of my soul, that I'm not going to continue to work in a toxic environment where I'm going to get shamed and hurt and damaged or whatever else. If it's not safe, I don't want to be there anymore. And actually, that's a gift that recovery has given me. Now, showing up is being who you are in each of these areas, is being who I am and what I desire, and I have dreams. I never will forget one time when I was learning this early in my recovery and my own healing, and I went out one day, and I've had a motorcycle in the past, and I just was allowing myself to have a want. I wanted a motorcycle again. And so I didn't have the money for one, but I went down to the shop, to the motorcycle store, and I went through there and I smelled the leather and the metal and the grease and all the wonderful smells of a motorcycle. And then I got one of the salesmen came up to me and said, "Well, what are you looking for?" And I said, "Just the biggest one you got here. I just want to sit on one of the biggest ones you got." And I got on this big old beautiful black shiny chrome slick leather windshield seat, all the whole works. And I sat there on that thing and I could just feel myself going down the highway at the speed limit, and the bugs in my teeth and the hair, all my hair blowing everywhere, and it was great. And I just sat there for a few minutes feeling what it felt like, because I remembered the days when I rode. And I get off the bike and I say, "Thank you very much." And I go to the counter and says, "Do you have a brochure on that bike?" And I took that brochure home and I opened that thing up and I taped it to my refrigerator door. And I says, "I may never buy you, but I can still want you." You know, it was giving myself permission to have desires. Sometimes we get those stolen away from us in childhood. "Oh, you can't do that. You can't have those wants," or whatever else. You might desire to go to a certain university when you were growing up, or to be a dancer or a brain surgeon or an astronaut. And people stole your desires and your dreams. Well, part of recovery is learning to gain those back, that you can't have dreams. Maybe it's a dream to have an intimate relationship. Maybe it's a dream to be loved, wanted, and desired yourself. And then there are feelings. Some of us were growing up in families where we weren't allowed to feel, or the only feeling that was in the home that we even had model for us was anger. Maybe there were substance abuses and behavior and all that other going on that everybody medicated their feelings. Maybe we were told or shown that we didn't have the right to feelings. And so we shut them down. Recovery is regaining those. That you'll hear me in other lectures talk about, what were you feeling in the moment? What do you feel? What do you feel? When that kind of came at me early on in my recovery, I was frustrated. I said, I don't feel anything. Well, I just wasn't in touch with them. I did feel them. Then the power to think. You know, growing up, sometimes we're not allowed to think our thoughts. We're regimented in our education. We're regimented maybe in our home. In our church, we're told how to think or what to think. Rarely have we been taught how to think, to be a good thinker. And so our ability to think has been stolen, run over, or shoved down our throats. Is that this is what you think, you don't think anything else. I want you to think, I'll tell you what to think, kind of stuff. And that dynamic, and that's abusive. And then there's the ability to know what you know. If you lived in a home with an addict, or maybe you're an addict and you grew up with other addicts in your home, your right to know was probably taken from you. I know for co-addicts, they're knowing that there's an elephant in the room, but not being allowed to know it really creates a lot of craziness. So I have the right to know what I know, and I have a right to be wrong with what I know. I hold to that right very tenuously, because probably most of what I know is wrong anyway, but I still have the right to know it. It's only when I can really own it can I change it. When I have the right to know what I know, and I think, well, I don't really know that. As a matter of fact, the more I feel like that I have had the right to know as I've gotten older, the more I realize I don't know. And I'm okay with that. It's kind of like, the more I have the right to know, the more freedom I have to being wrong with what I know. It's pretty cool. Then there's the intuit. I have the right to intuit, to my intuition, my gut. That my gut is saying the grass is a certain color and the others in my world are telling me it's not. When I know there's an elephant in the middle of the room, there's addiction or there's abuse or there's something there, and my gut's saying that this is this way, and I have people that try to talk me out of that. That's abuse. So the boundaries in my show-up place are to protect each one of these things, not only for me, but for anybody else that's there at the show-up place. They have a right to know something different than me. They have a right to think different than I do. They have a right to have a different feeling and have different dreams and desires. It's really cool when two people show up. When I show up with my wife and she has different ones than I do, and we begin to talk about them and share them, and it kind of comes into a blending. We're honoring, both of us honoring what we both desire and think and feel. It's really cool. Now, part of this whole thing in learning to show up at the show-up place, walking my recovery and maintaining my boundaries is that I can never, while I'm out here, be authentic. When I'm out here, I don't know what I feel. I don't know what I know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I desire because I've medicated my feelings by some behavior or some substance. And I can't show up at the show-up place. A show-up person at the show-up place knows what they think, what they know, what they feel, what they intuit, and what they desire. Basically, my challenge to you is to realize to come into full knowledge, full acceptance of who that is in you. And then when the two people come together, whether they agree or not, they all have the right to do this. It makes this universe a much fuller, richer universe to be in. Kind of like when God invited Adam and Eve to show up at the show-up place. It doesn't say a whole lot about how God told him to do anything. He just wanted to hear from him. He gave Adam dominion over the earth, and he let him name the animals, and he let him do all of that. God didn't take away his knowledge. He didn't take away his knowing, his thinking, his feeling, his intuition, any of that. He let him be real and full, and it was a safe place. Only when he violated the rules did it become unsafe, and basically we can't get back there yet. I think that bottom line, what I'm saying in all of this is this. There is, as much as we can experience it today, a Garden of Eden with safe people in our lives, where the treasures of our soul are protected by the boundaries, and we learn to show up at a show-up place much like the garden. And we can celebrate our uniqueness. We can celebrate the vulnerability and also the safety of being who we are. That is a true gift of recovery. I invite you to take this journey and continue on this journey until this is something you also experience.